Alright, this is Marcus from ZrockR Magazine, and I'm here with Buzz and Groovie from My Life with the Thrill Kill Kult. So first off, the progression of industrial music in the last 25 years. How do you keep up with any bands going on nowadays, or the last thing you just do what you guys do? And
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, we never thought we were industrial to begin with. We just kind of got thrown into that thing. We just do what we do, and people take it for what it is.
Yeah, they find what they want in it or not.
How about your fellow contemporaries of the time? How they've progressed. Do you even keep up with those guys that are like Ministry or anything?
Actually, I don't think a lot of them changed a lot.
No, they all kind of just kept the same sound. All of them.
If you put on a Ministry album, it's Ministry.
Right.
If you put on a KMFDM album, it sounds like every other
Manson,
KMFDM.
9 Inch Nails. It just is all. And that's fine because that's their identity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's their niche, and that's their crowd.
You don't want to stray too far from it. Of course, you're going to experiment along the way.
Right. It keeps it more interesting for us. We don't want to.
But we don't put limits on ourselves. We don't say every album has to sound like this, or it's just like every album has to sound different. Because we like to
the challenge.
Challenge of trying something new all the time.
But you always keep your identity. Yeah.
There's always that little bit. We've got the samples.
We have our style that sort of, is there to sort of treat the sound, if that makes no sense.
When you guys started, what made you go down that route, the electronic route? You didn't want to be an average rock band.
We were finished both of his bands. That's how we were like, no more bands.
We had kind of started out in bands, the situation, and I had purchased a sampler, and that was the new thing at the time. And we're like, how cool, we can sample movies and make sounds, and
loops,
we can create our own thing without drummers and guitarists and bass players, and that they come afterwards,
right.
to help enhance the live experience.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the new album, Spooky Tricks, I was listening to it just a couple hours ago. I'm not familiar with a lot of your guys' material, so I'm not going to pretend to. But I have heard some of the older stuff, and I've heard the new stuff. Mm-hmm. And to me, it still sounds like you guys. It sounds like you haven't really deviated from the path very much. But there's still a lot of the 70s and 80s element, like the drum sounds and loops and stuff. Mm-hmm. And which I like that, I like the disco and the 80s and the new wave and all that. So it's cool that you guys are still keeping that going in your sound.
Well, it's in our blood, Yeah.
We
can't get rid of it, It's like that's what we grew up.
It's like we're born that way, became affected from. We grew up through all those, genres. So.
Yeah. I think everyone.
Punk, glam. Well, I'm a little older, so it was like glam, punk.
Cool.
New wave.
Well, what was not necessarily musically, but what were some of your influences and your early goals, early on? Did you think you would still be here in 2014 doing this?
No.
We don't ever look ahead and plan anything out. We just kind of go with the flow. We didn't think we'd be alive this long, to tell you the truth, the way we were living at the time.
We're wild.
We never thought it would last this long.
No way.
You guys still doing the sex, drugs, rock and roll lifestyle?
Here and there. It's kind of boring now, though, when you've done so much. It's like, how do you top this shit?
I know.
Now being the exciting thing would be to be more normal now, wouldn't it? How do you adjust to being normal?
Exactly. That's what's hard.
Finding a balance.
Yeah. Are you guys living a normal home life nowadays, or?
It varies.
I was, but I'm not.
what do you guys do in your free time? Like when you're not making music? And all that? I mean, like what do you do to keep busy? Or...
Paint.
Yeah, he paints and he does photography. And I work on music pretty much 24/7.
Awesome.
You know, I mean, I got my own little projects. I never seem to finish them or anything, but I've just always, you know, I smoke a lot of pot. And I like to make music, you know. And other than that, I, you know, have dogs.
I have a med card.
You know, I got dogs. I, you know, walk and take hikes and all that kind of stuff.
All right, so early on, you guys had a little bit of controversy with a couple songs, and you know, at the time, you know, there was a lot of things that hadn't been done yet, so that was understandable. But nowadays, it's a little hard to be controversial, you know, no matter what the topic is.
Sure, yeah. I mean, everything's been exploited so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. When you see fucking pentagrams in Urban Outfitters window, you're like, I mean, the upside down.
You're
one.
Shocked by that now.
You know, the inverted pentagrams in the fucking window. I'm just like, oh man, like wow.
It's all socially acceptable now.
Yeah.
I mean, were you guys trying to be controversial back in the day, or did you just it just happened?
It was
to be
like
that
the
way?
path we were on. I was like destroying religious art because I just always liked that, you know.
That's art in itself.
And you know, little did I know it was going to become so vogue. I mean, fuck. Now it's sort of like you say.
You couldn't even be controversial now if you wanted to, you know, even if you tried to.
And they've refined all that stuff so like it's so spelled out and so perfect that it doesn't even have an effect on it. You know, photoshopped into this like it just, you know, a bit glossy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that raw edge anymore, the roughness. I mean, that's one thing that we still try to keep in our, you know, what we do, and that's why we do use real musicians, and you know, we've used real instruments in the studio, and you know, we like the raggedness of stuff around, you know.
Yeah. Is there ever going to be the movie that was originally supposed to be?
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we could maybe our
I mean, it'd probably
final years could be
it'd
that,
probably be
but,
easier to make nowadays with
of course.
technology. You can record it with your phone now.
I mean, yeah, if we had started out now, there'd probably be a movie and no band, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, back then, you know, we didn't have the word computers to edit on.
No.
Everyone didn't have video you know, it was a big deal to do that back then. And, yeah, it might be a completely different situation 30 years later, but... You know, who knows? You know, maybe it'll be a Broadway show someday. You know,
Your biggest achievement is a Broadway about your story. And it's like, whoever saw that coming out,
right?
That'd be neat.
Right.
The Bomb Gang girls, the new girls compared to like Jackie Black, Cinderella Pussy, and Kitty Kildare. How do you feel about them? I guess
you know, they're still there. Some
I mean, Jackie's still around.
Yeah, Jackie's still.
Because she didn't get married and have babies like the rest of them.
Yeah.
She's still the wild one. Yeah. But you know, there hasn't been that many. You know, and they're not around now. They come and go.
Yeah, well, they show up and do some tours. We'll have one or. I think Arena Rock's going to join us on some of a few shows, and you know what I mean. That's how they sort of appear. We put together an album for them that we worked on. You know, they are still part of it. You know? Just when the new one comes into the picture, sort of naturally. You know, the timing's right.
Yeah, we don't go out and search for them. Someone just kind of falls into place.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we make a good Bomb Gang girl.
Yeah.
And half of them go like, "What's that?" And we're like, "Don't worry about it." You know? Here's the microphone and just.
But you know, they were bartenders and just the girl next door. They weren't dancers. You know,
those are the best
singers.
girls.
Never.
Yeah, they were just bar
just
buddies.
Chicks that we knew. Yeah, bar buddies. Be like, come on, You know, I can't go on stage. It's like, yes, you can. Have a drink, put your wig on, and flop your boobs around.
All right. So, with your art, is it anything that you show publicly, or is it just something personal
you know,
thing?
I was just all these paintings I was accumulating, and I just sort of, you know, decided to show them, and I just sold them all just as a fluke, you know. And I always have art in my life. I'm always doing something, you know. When I'm not, I can be writing lyrics. It fuels it, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I just let that naturally flow out of me as well. I don't really set to, like, oh, I'm going to do a show.
Yeah.
I just sort of gather with my sort of natural.
Have you ever done any album artwork or?
Yeah, through the years, some photography and stuff. I've done photographs for Gene Loves Jezebel's first records in London, and when I lived there, so, you know,
Yeah.
I'm always willing to shoot.
do you have any other side projects going on?
Oh yeah, a few things that we both work on. Sometimes other people in the band I work on things with. Other people ask me to sing on their albums. I did a couple of things last year for some friends.
What about you? What about your little unfinished stuff that you do?
I don't know. I'll get it finished someday.
Is it going to be a solo thing, or is it?
I'm not really sure. Man. We'll see what happens.
Or just eventually get incorporated into the thrill?
Well, that's what happens a lot. I write it thinking it's going to be one project, and then we're like, oh, but that would make a great Thrill Kill thing. And,
Right,
you know,
so we flop it around.
And yeah, it's nothing set in stone. Like, oh, these songs are for this, and this song
Yeah.
is for this. It's
Right.
all like,
Plus
Whatever
again,
makes sense.
you have your personal style anyway, which just happens to be so.
yeah.